everyone. Welcome to what is going to be a quick summarization of all the stuff I tried to teach in episode 1 of the Goety mod playthrough series. Unfortunately, I forgot to actually make the series, or the first episode, not an hour long for the most part. So, that's what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a 30-minute video to help function as a tutorial for how to get started in Goety, basic spell stuff, and, basic information as well as what exactly is Goety. Now, funny enough, this is the second time I had to make this video. I had to remake this entire video because the first time I forgot to properly set my audio equipment for the microphone and whatnot, so the entire video I could barely be heard because one, my microphone was super quiet, and two, these turds were louder than me. That's why you're locked up. Stay in that cage. Anywho, today is gonna be a quite simple little explanation. First thing first, I highly recommend downloading the mod Patchouli, as spelled like this, because that will give you access to this lovely book here, the Black Book, made with a book and an emerald. This is essentially a mod guide. It functions as a guide to the whole mod. Can probably explain it better than I can. Even has advancement progress and such, so doing certain things will add more pages that will not be available, as you can see here. Not only that, but also certain actions. So not just advancement, but doing certain things for countering certain mobs will add more pages to this, which is pretty cool. Probably would even need to watch this video if you just installed Patchouli. But yeah, I appreciate thoughts coming in anyway, so hopefully you stick around. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get one of two things to get started. That's going to be either a Totem of Roots or a Totem of Souls. Now you might be wondering, why is Souls needed? As Guessing Totem of Souls, I don't know why I'm looking at it with third person. Simply because this mod is heavily based on Minecraft Dungeons. It's actually meant to serve as a prequel to Minecraft Dungeons in terms of lore, while also just having a general theme of the magic the Illager uses and just being based around dark magic. And there are dogs barking on a second. You have to edit that out of the video, don't worry about it. But yeah, so because of that, souls and other stuff that you'd see in Minecraft Dungeons are going to be a very common theme. Well, where these things come from. The race. Yeah, they come from Minecraft Dungeons. Anyway, so, Tome of Roots, made with 2 lapis, 4 sticks, and ectoplasm. Tome of Souls, which is a better thing to use than Tome of Roots, because it can do more, it can also just hold more. 2 awakened emeralds, 4 gold ingots, 2 lapis, and a soul lantern. Now you're probably wondering, how do I get ectoplasm or a soul lantern? Not soul lantern. Everyone knows how to get that. How do I get awakened emeralds or ectoplasm? Well, first, for the awakened emeralds, you're going to need to find yourself a monster spawner, and you're going to want to, well, 1, bookmark the location of it and come back to it later. But 2, you're going to want to make yourself a cursed infuser. Cursed infusers are made with 2 of any kind of stone block, a block of coal, and it has to be coal specifically, not charcoal, 2 lapis, and a cauldron. By itself, it will remain inactive and not do anything. However, if you place it on top of a monster spawner, you're now be able to use yourself the cursed infuser. Keep in mind, it does not matter if it has torches around the monster spawner or not, but I would heavily recommend it. You don't want stuff randomly spawning. Using the Curse Infuser, you can transform other items into a magic counterpart. Amethyst turning into Empty Focus. Any kind of tree sapling turning into a Haunted Sapling. An Emerald becoming Awakened Emeralds. And Bone Block becoming Savage Tooth. These are all going to be very handy, and I would advise stocking up on them. But for the most part, you're going to need a lot of these resources for a lot of stuff. Now, starting with the Tome of Roots, has only 100 storage capacity. All it does is stores any soul energy you gain from killing mobs. Not matter how you kill them, as long as you're the one that causes their death. You can also hold it in your you just hold it in your hotbar somewhere, or if you have curios, which I heavily recommend, otherwise a lot of the stuff in the mod will work, you can place the Tome of Roots in your charm slot. Aside from that, doesn't really do much. But the benefit of having it makes it to where you can cast spells and whatnot, because you do need soul energy to do so. Now, that being said, you're probably wondering how do I get ectoplasm? Simply put, to get ectoplasm, you have to kill one of these guys. There are plenty of creatures or mobs in Goety that drop ectoplasm, but these are going to be the most common you'll encounter, and can be encountered at any stage in the game. So, yeah, keep an eye out for them, kill them if you can, stock up with ectoplasm, you're going to need a lot of it. Starting with this one, we got your basic race. These guys are exactly how they are in the Minecraft Dungeons game. They stay within a distance away from the player, trying to use their Ghost Fire to attack them. They summon Ice Bouquet, which is the Ghost Fire below you, damage you. It does not do fire damage. I think it actually does either magic or cold damage. That being said, fire is something that can hurt them as well. They burn in daylight, which is why I have to have these stone slabs up here. But for the most part, they are also not immune to their own attack, so if you can get them to walk into their own flame, that would be very funny. But if you get too close, or if you're too far from them, they will teleport away or to you, depending on the situation. However, they'll always stay at enough distance to be within range to use their spell without being close enough to be attacked by you yourself. Best way to handle them? Bow and arrow. Simply because they'll be staying put most of the time, and they'll always be out of range where you can shoot. Reapers are affectionately the melee variant. While Race cannot do anything to attack aside from summoning Ghost Fire, which takes a while because it has a cooldown between use, and it's probably obvious when they do it. Reapers, on the other hand, are just slow, can't teleport, however, pack a mean punch with that scythe of theirs, and they have a pretty rapid attack speed. So, again, best way to handle it is either have a shield prepared and just get really good at timing when you hit them, along with having some really good armor and weapons, which isn't much, you don't have much health. Or, bow and arrow. Good old bow and arrow always works. They drop ectoplasm and grave dust. Grave dust is used for later game stuff such as rituals and whatnot, but actually not used that often. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I swear to God, if they dang dog. Anywho, back on track. More stuff we have to edit out, great. But yeah, Reapers, overall, no good. These both spawn just about anywhere as long as it's dark enough. They follow the same rule for any other hostile mob to spawn. You find them above ground or underground. However, I will note, if you're playing with the Twilight Forest mod and you're in the Twilight Forest dimension, Wraith will have a higher chance of spawning and can spawn passively regardless of time. Not sure about Reapers, but I think they can as well. And finally, we got the Muck Wraith. Muck Wraith drop ectoplasm, brown mushroom, red mushroom, and slime balls. These guys are essentially going to function the exact same way as Wraith. The only difference is that instead of summoning Ghost Fire, they summon noxious clouds of poison gas. Not fun. Do not get hit by that, because that will absolutely ruin your day. All of these drops are affected by looting, and overall these guys aren't that much of a threat when they're by themselves. However, if you're in a group, they'll definitely be annoying to deal with, because they will hinder you a bit, or just outright cause a lot of damage if you're not careful. So, if you're in a group, focus these guys first, get them out of the way, gonna make everything easier. If they're by themselves, they're pretty easy to take care of. That being said, I will prove exactly how easy it is by murderizing them myself, using just simple iron gear. Really, as long as you even have you probably don't even need iron tools and stuff. If you have stone or wood, you can probably do it. Just gotta be careful. We are going to go into game mode survival. Set it to nighttime. Start with the race. Pretty easy to see because they're super bright. They go in the dark, all that stuff. Even without shaders on, which I will show here in a second. As you can see, the good fire, not fun. Now move past that. Pretty easy to handle. And to prove a point about them being easy to see without shaders, as you can see, kind of stick out. They're also very large. They're very loud. They're very large. Now, can't say the same for Reapers exactly. They're a bit harder to see, but they are also as loud. And once you do see them, they're kind of hard to miss. Reapers are relatively slow, but they have this weird habit of flying. They also have pretty decent range with that size, so I'd be careful of that. Again, good old bow and arrow fixes it. Finally, Muck Race, essentially just a nasty version of the race. It's good on the Crimson Feeder. That does damage over time. The Fool. But yeah, overall, not a vicious bunch, but they can and will mess up your day if you let them. And also, ectoplasm can be used as armor trim material. Specific armor trim I have right now, Ward. Thought I would go back with it. Doesn't look too bad. I think it's pretty good. Well, it's like with shaders off. But yeah, for the most part, these guys are sort of a bunch of pushovers. You said pissovers, that's kind of weird. They're not too threatening, but do not underestimate them, as they will remind you why, magic hurts. Or how much it hurts, I should say. And this guy was just straight up trying to murder you with the scythe. Yeah, we don't like him very much. Now, that being said, that is how you get ectoplasm to make Tome of Roots, or to use it for anything else. However, if you have access to Nether, or some kind of way to get soul sand or soul foil, I'd highly advise skipping the Tome of Roots entirely and going straight for Tome of Souls. Tome of Souls made 2 lapis, 4 gold, Soul Lantern, 2 awakened emeralds, as I said before. Tome of Souls can hold a total of 10,000 soul energy. You can hold it in your hotbar or in your charm slot. The benefit of the Tome of Souls is that it functions both as a soul storage container, soul auto storage, and it also functions as a refillable, reusable Tome of Undying. Once the Tome of Souls is fully filled, as such, not only will it become, incredibly obviously filled, if you should die while you have one equipped or in your hotbar, you have to make sure you actually have the config for it active. This mod is very configurable, so anything you would like to change is incredibly easy. Should you die during whatever, Tome of Souls should easily fix it for you, as all of them do. It's kind from this assistant. Doing so uses up all of your soul energy and doesn't give you as strong a buff as it would from dying, which is fine, but feel free to do so. But it does give you fire resistance for short time and some regeneration too. In addition to that, I believe there's a chance it becomes a spent tome of souls. Spent tome of souls do not function at all and can't be used for anything. However, you can fix it by combining it with a soul lantern. Now, I do want to mention, you do want to watch how much soul energy you have, because once you pass a certain limit, bad stuff tends to happen, such as getting the attention of Illager. Illager will become a bit jealous of how powerful you're becoming and will send Illager hunting parties down to hunt you down. The more soul energy you have, the higher difficulty it will be. So I advise keeping it around between 100 to 650. That way, anything past that might start spawning them, or even if they do start spawning beforehand, it won't be that much to really be a threat. That being said, if you have even more than that, there's a chance whites will spawn. Whites are the spooky ghosts that try to eat your soul energy and whatnot, and they're not fun at all. They're a mini boss, I believe. You do not want them to spawn. I will do a video covering them later, but for now, just mostly have a little warning. So, unless you're fully prepared for stuff like that, I would worry and make sure to keep your soul energy maintained at a certain level. That being said, not that big of a deal. Now, we're going to move on to the wand. The wand cannot be used without soul energy, so you do have to have a Tome of Root or Tome of Soul with soul energy in it. I'm going to be using the Tome of Root for now, because I like how it looks. Add 100. Do that. Dark Wand is made with 2 lapis, a empty focus, magic fabric, and haunted point. Empty focus, as suggested from before, made from putting an amethyst shard through Curse Infuser, or if you have a Tome of Root or Soul before you have the Curse Infuser, you can make it from that at the cost of more resources. How we recommend not doing that and to just get the Curse Infuser. Next, you're going to need magic fabric made of 2 string, lapis and gold. I don't know if I said that already. 2 lapis, empty focus, and haunted planks. Haunted planks is obtained when you place any kind of tree sapling through the Curse Infuser to get a haunted sapling and then have the haunted sapling grow. Haunted saplings grow into this lovely looking spooky tree, which makes for a very nice wood set. As you can see here, what it looks like with the shaders I'm on. The shaders I'm using specifically is Complementary Unbound plus U4 patches for anyone wanting to know. And you can also use the haunted plank combined with painting to make the haunted painting, which can be used for a lot of very pretty stuff. There's very bad look on rotation here. If I can get the original thing I had it on. Ouch, there's that. But yeah, there's a lot more paintings aside from just 2x2. I guess was it? Yeah, 2x2, I think. Aside from that, there's a lot of other paintings you can get from like just simple 1, 1x1. I think even 4x or 3x3, even a 4x4. Whatever the case, there's plenty of options. You can put haunted saplings into plant pots as well if you wish for like a dead bush look. You can also generally just make some pretty nice looking chests and doors, trapdoors, as you can see here. I don't know why I looked at trapdoor as a door and then door as a trapdoor. Both buttons and pressure points. The other thing you can do with it is you can make haunted lamps using glowstone and 2 shadestone and haunted wood. Shadestone you get from putting any stone block, not cobblestone, stone, and through the Curse Infuser. There's also hanging lamps and such. yourself onto the plate, you can use that to make yourself a wand. Dark Wand is the very first and only basic starter wand type. Everything else is an upgrade to the... Yeah, everything else is an upgrade directly to the Dark Wand, and it becomes a staff after which. To utilize Dark Wand, you can press D to open its inventory to put focus in it, or if you have focuses in your inventory, you can hold X, and it will open up a radio menu, which I'll show you later. Before we carry on to the spells, a few things that I want to cover is Focus Bag, Focus Pack, and the Dark Hat and Robe. Focus Bag, made with 4 leather, gold ingot, and empty focus, essentially functions as a storage unit for spells, or spell focuses. Focus Pack is a direct upgrade to the Focus Bag, requiring 7 leather and 2 focus bags. This functions as a bigger pack, essentially, as a combination of 2. Yeah, I really recommend having these. They make everything so much more useful, or make everything so much easier, and clear up a lot more space in your inventory. Next is the Dark Hat and Dark Robe. These will reduce the amount of time it takes to cast spells, and then the amount of cost it takes, or how much soul it costs to cast a spell by 50%. There are many other cosmetic stuff like this that have benefits and uses, but this one is basically inspired, or very obviously inspired by evokers, and just looks very nice. You can make them with dark fabric made with black dye, lapis, and string, a gold piece, and or piece of gold ingot, 2 leather. That makes the hat. To make the robes, you will need 5 dark fabric and 3 magic fabric. This together makes this very snazzy looking set. Now, that being said, I say it's time we move on to the spells. Here we have our ugly stupid dummies, who will stand in as mobs for today. And we have a plethora of stuff to interact with. Starting off, we're going to be starting with the utility spells, and then we'll move on to the basic range and other kind of spells, basic attack spells. These are all going to be the basic magic class spells. There are other basic spells you can make, and, well, by basic, I mean it's all stuff you can make with crafting tables and stuff you can get pretty early on in the game. However, we're only going to be covering the magic class spells, as they are most likely going to be what you're going to find or find out about first. But there are plenty of our starter spells from the art element. But however, I will cover those in their own videos for those element spell type dedication. Bleh. Ah yes, I English very well. Yes, look how fancy I speak with my little fancy hat. Yeah, no. Those will be in their own dedicated videos. Starting off, we got the Soul Light, which is spell type magic, as all the entire spells, as I said before, made with 4 coal or charcoal, doesn't matter which, an empty focus, and 4 sticks. This is essentially the spell wheel rail. This is essentially just going to be your basic light spell. You shoot it anywhere to create a little area of light. If you shoot it at a mob or entity, it will apply glowing. Does not do damage, and it has a very low spell cost, taking only 1 soul energy. If I go into survival, it doesn't even use up soul energy, strangely enough. I wonder if that's because of the dark robe. It is. So if you have the dark robe, that makes it better. It does not use soul energy at all. It also counts as projectile when you shoot it, so you can light up the area with it using red the lamp and such, or you can set up a trap. Aside from that, Soul Light Focus doesn't do much. It can, however, be upgraded using 4 glowstone dust and 4 netherrack to make the Glow Light Focus. Glow Light Focus is the same principle, it's just a stronger light. Still applies glowing, doesn't do it for any longer than the normal sunlight focus. Still use as a projectile. Generally, just makes things nice. And pretty easy to aim. However, does not receive the same reduced cost as the normal soul light, where instead it receives a reduced cost of 1. So instead of costing 2 soul, will cost 1, thanks to the Dark Robe. Heavily recommend having these. Next up, Ignite Focus, made with 2 iron, 2 flint. This is essentially flint steel as a spell. Costs 1 soul. You could use it to light coal blocks on fire if you want a fancy campfire, or an actual campfire. If it's been extinguished, you can light it with that. You can also use it to light portals, and it's pretty nice benefit. If you look at a mob that's close, you can light them on fire. So while not necessarily a combat spell, still pretty nifty. And of course, if you use it on a creeper, it will, detonate it. Finally, last of the utility spells, but still pretty useful. Crafting Focus, 4 planks, 1 empty focus. All you have to do, really, with this one is just right click anywhere. It lets you open up a crafting table regardless of where your location is or if there's one nearby. Very useful, especially if you're out traveling or just don't have a crafting table on you while you're out mining. Now, moving on to the more combat-orientated spells, we have the Ironhide Focus. Costs 24 souls to cast it, has a requirement of 4 Awakened Emeralds and 4 Iron Ingots. Something I should mention for the other element spell, depending on where your location is, they will either receive a buff or a debuff, while also costing less or more soul energy. If you're, let's say, use an ice spell in ice biome, or frozen biome, that's cold or something like that. Well, obviously, because it's cold there already, it's going to cost less while also doing more damage. But then you say use it in a desert biome, it's going to cost more soul energy to cast it while also being weaker. Generally not a good idea. Although I might have gotten that wrong, it might just be it just costs more soul, depending on where it is. I don't know if it actually does make things stronger or weaker, but I do believe it does. Additionally, depending on what you're using it against does matter as well. So like, let's say you use an ice spell on a nether mob, it does more damage. Ice beats fire or whatever. That being said, same thing with enchantments, as you can enchant these, which will apply different modifiers and change it depending on what the enchantment you put on it is. For example, this one you can put enchantment on it that makes it simply last longer. Speaking of which, using Ironhide takes a lot of cast, gives you a potion effect. Ironhide increases armor points by 4 per level. I believe you can enchant how effective this is as well, so it can increase more armor points. As you see, I am wearing currently nothing. So go into survival. My Dark Robe, and Dark Hat, and Toga Roof don't apply armor. However, as you can see, once the chat thing goes away, it does give armor. If I cast it again, simply extend the duration as it recasts it. Again, you can enchant these. I will cover all the enchantments and stuff related to spells in the future. But for now, that's the basic principle. You can use enchantments to upgrade your spells. Next, the Biting Focus, made with 4 Awakened Emeralds, an Empty Focus, and 4 Savage Teeth, or Tooth, I guess. Again, made from bone blocks. The Biting Focus is going to be your run-of-the-mill Evoker Fang spell that you see in a lot of magic box. Pretty nifty, pretty nice to have, decent range, can be extended, and the amount of damage it does can be changed with enchantment. Again, if you'll shift and cast it, you will cast it in a circular range. As you can see, it does 6 damage per hit per Evoker Fang. It's a pretty decent early game weapon spell. Yes, that makes sense. Weapon spells. Does not count as projectile. And I do believe if you aim it through walls, like so, it can hit stuff, as long as there's enough space for the Evoker Fang. Other than that, it'll just travel. So yeah, pretty decent range spell. completely useless against anything that can fly. So if you try to use it like against, say, the Reaper while it's hovering up, it might not work as well. Next up, you weren't supposed to see that. Anyway, next up we have the empty focus, 2 coal or 2 charcoal, doesn't matter which, 4 gunpowder, and you can get yourself a fire breath focus. Fire breath focus costs 2. I forgot to mention the evoker fang cost 8, and fighting focus, I should say, and the ironhide cost 4. Fire breath only costs 2 to cast it. This is quite the simple focus. Casting it, right click, or hold right click to cast it. Doing so allows you to shoot fire out. That enemies fire also that right click or applying fire damage. Gee, English not going well for me today, is it? Not sure why these are. There you are. There we go. The fact the cooldown is duration. At pretty decent range, short to mid range, I would say, or close to mid range. And for every second fire is on, like the actual breath of fire is on the target, it will apply damage, I believe. It does not work against anything immune to fire damage, though. The blazes and such will not be affected by it. That would be pretty fun if it made it to where it would just heal them instead. Wouldn't that be fun? But no, that would be a terrible idea. Finally, last but not least, Soul Bolt. Soul Bolt is one of the worst spells, by the way, unless you're in a later game with some better equipment that actually changes how it functions. Soul Bolt kind of sucks. You need 1 ectoplasm, a soul light focus, and then 3 arrows of any kind. Get yourself Soul Bolt. Soul Bolt is, yeah, as you can see, not very good. Does very little damage, only 4. Very slow projectile speed. Like most stuff can outrun it. Or even just step around it. But I will say a benefit is that you can shoot it relatively quickly, as it has a very fast cooldown. Still counts as a projectile, so you can even use it for that, but this is essentially your basic run-of-the-mill projectile. It can be upgraded later on, I do believe, whether through using it to make a new spell that functions similarly, or through other means such as using enchantment, or using special equipment that outright changes the behavior of the spell. However, that will be all for today. Thank you for stopping by to watch this video. Hopefully, this video doesn't sound as bad as it did first run, because it was horrible, the audio was just terrible. And hopefully you all check out episode 2 of my Goety playthrough series after watching this, once that's out. This is meant to be a stand-in for those who don't want to watch the full hour video for episode 1, as this video serves as basically a short summary of what we learned in the first episode. And this will also help serve as a tutorial for the newcomers of the Goety mod to get into the mod, and to know what they're getting into in general. But again, above all, please just install Patchouli, use the Black Book. It's so much more easy to do that and look up videos, as there's not going to be that many videos online, trust me, I looked. Also, because this adds like a sort of sense of progression with the achievement system and whatnot. Pretty good. That's the other thing, this mod does have its own custom achievement. Some of them are pretty funny in references. For example, if you make a focus, an empty focus for the first time, you'll see achievement, what is this songcraft? Using a wand, or making a wand, gives you the pointy gun. Look at me, I'm the evoker now. All sorts of fun stuff. But yeah, next episode we're probably going to cover rituals and hopefully enchantments, and maybe even get started on our first element type. You know, we will see. Until then, see you later. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.